Okay, we're going to talk about trade barriers. If you look in Google Classroom or Edmodo, you'll see a chart labeled trade barriers. You can either print that out or draw it in your social studies notebook to help you take notes while watching this video. Okay, first off, trade barriers refer to international trade. This involves the exchange of goods or services between countries. International trade is described in terms of exports, that's the goods and services sold to other countries, and imports, the goods or services bought from other countries. Countries trade goods because no country has all the resources necessary to efficiently produce everything its people need. So we trade in order to get everything we need for its people. Free trade versus trade barriers. With free trade, nothing hinders or gets in the way of two nations trading with each other. Countries sometimes set up trade barriers to restrict trade because they want to produce and sell their own goods. Trading is difficult because things get in the way. There are costs and benefits related to free trade as well as trade barriers. Trade barriers keep products from being bought and sold between countries. They hinder, which means to stop or slow down, global trade. There are three major types of economic trade barriers. 1 is tariff, 2, quota, and 3, embargo. Most barriers to trade are designed to prevent imports from entering a country. Another type of barrier is a physical trade barrier. Natural barriers can slow down trade between nations by making it harder and more expensive to move goods from place to place. An example of this would be the Swiss Alps, make it difficult for northern Italy to trade with Switzerland. The countries are building tunnels through the mountains to help make trade easier. Another example would be the Sahara Desert, makes it extremely hard for countries in northern Africa to trade with the rest of the continent. Okay, now we're going to get into tariffs. Find the tariff section in your notes. First off, you're probably wondering, what is a tariff? Well, a tariff is a tax put on goods imported from other countries. Put that under the definition section. The effect of a tariff is to raise the price of the imported product. It makes imported goods more expensive so that people are more likely to purchase lower priced items produced domestically. Domestically means locally or within the country. Tariffs are taxes charged for goods that leave or enter a country. In order to get a product from another country, you have to pay extra for it. It is the same concept as sales tax that is put on items you purchase at the store. When countries outside of the European Union want to sell their goods in the European Union, they must pay tariffs. This makes the non-European Union products more expensive than the products made by the European Union members, so it encourages people inside the European Union to purchase domestic products. So think of how many goods the United States imports. How do you think tariffs might affect the economy, and how do you think that affects world trade? Well, if a U.S. company wants to export fruit to a country in the European Union, the U.S. company must pay a tariff which makes U.S. fruit more expensive. Then it's encouraging European countries to purchase the European Union fruit. Alright, find the section in your notes for quota. A quota is a restriction on the amount of a good that can be imported into a country. Putting a quota on a good creates a shortage, which causes the price of the good to rise. Consumers are less likely to buy this good because it's now more expensive than the good produced in the home country. Quotas encourage people to buy domestic products rather than foreign goods. This boosts the country's economy. A quota is when a country limits the amount of a product that can be imported from another country. An example is a country might limit the amount of cars imported from other countries to 500,000 per year. So what do you think is going to happen when the country reaches the import limit? Where will the rest of the cars come from? How do you think this quota impacts the country's economy? Think about these questions to discuss in class. The European Union places a quota on the amount of steel that can be imported from certain countries. The effect is similar to a tariff because it makes steel from those countries harder to get and more expensive. This helps steel producers with the European Union sell more steel. Now find the embargo section of your notes. Trade embargoes forbid trade with another country. This means not allow it. The government orders a complete ban on trade with another country. The embargo is the harshest type of trade barrier and is usually enacted for political purposes to hurt a country economically. An embargo is when one country completely refuses to trade with another country. Here's two examples. Write one of them in your notes. This is usually done between two countries that are disagreeing over political issues. Recently, the European began placing embargoes on the sale of certain weapons and other technologies to Iran. This was done because the countries of the European Union suspected Iran was trying to build a nuclear bomb. European Union countries hope that the embargo will make it difficult for Iran to build this type of weapon. Trade barriers provide many benefits. They protect homeland industries from competition. They protect jobs. They help provide extra income for the government. They increase the number of goods people can choose from. And they decrease the cost of these goods through increased competition. Cost of trade barriers. Tariffs increase the price of imported goods. The tax on imported goods is passed along to the consumer, so the price of imported goods is higher. Less competition from world markets means there's an increase in the price of goods. With quotas, there's a smaller variety of goods available for consumers to choose from. This causes supply and demand.